Gonzalo Higuain, and it's buried in the top corner. Campana, and again.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Ooh, and we're back. 2023, ready to get hurt again, just like every other previous year. And we actually have a special guest with us today. We got Calypso we got La Ventanita podcast, Vice City. What else you got going on? I know you got a couple other things going on there. I know you got
that's mostly mostly
okay.
Also Bada 776, the U.S. men's national team. Bada,
there you go. And I'm sure you guys had a good time during the World Cup. So I appreciate you joining us.
Of course.
First one of the year, first time we ever go live. So we'll see how this goes also. But wanted to start off something new this year, and I just wanted to see how you're doing, Chris. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. Happy New Year to you as well, Calypso.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the right time to celebrate the new year. I mean, everything is just going down right now. Have you guys seen Twitter right now? It is wild.
Popping. And that's not even including the U.S. men's national team drama. We talk about that with my coworker. That's a whole on its own. That's a whole nother. You can start a whole nother Battered Yanks podcast about that. Like that's a whole nother thing. But
at some point, there's going to be a 30 for 30 about that.
Oh, absolutely! Ooh. It's just the messiest, most American drama that you've ever seen.
But doesn't that make us a little more football? Like don't you need those scandals in soccer? I mean, like it's all over the world. We needed something going.
In England, the tabloids are crazy.
Yeah,
like the tabloids are wild in England. Like I've seen them sometimes because I'm a Manchester United fan, so I follow it sometimes. The tabloids are wild up there. They have zero. You think TMZ's bad?
No, they're wild.
Well, we were going to record yesterday. We had a little conflict to schedule, so we pushed it back today. But I'm kind of glad we did because a lot of things went down today. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that we ended up recording today instead of yesterday. We got our first official signing, and we also got a little rumors kind of just brewing there across the top that got everybody excited over the last few hours. But I feel like I have to start with the rumor because this one was hot and juicy. Now, back in October, at the end of the season, me and Chris were talking. And I said, man, would I love to have Josef Martinez on this team? I don't think he'll take up a DP spot. Now everybody's telling me that he probably will. I don't know. But Josef Martinez, former MVP, he scores goals for fun. Like this guy on this team would be incredible. Now, Chris, he was dominant. Now, Calypso, Chris is relatively new to soccer and Inter Miami. Right, he dove in just a year and a half ago, so he didn't see Josef Martinez at his height. But I'm assuming you did.
Yes.
Tell me that you are as excited about this rumor as I am.
If this is actually true, this is a baller move, for many reasons. One, Josef Martinez. We had a lot of problems with people not trying. That was a big criticism that I made with Gonzalo Higuain. He turned that around. I will fully admit that. I'll eat crow on that every day. That's fine. But he turned it around and he proved everybody wrong, like me. Josef Martinez is that kind of person. He is very determined. He's very hardworking, and that was one of the problems that he had in Atlanta, that he didn't feel like other players were working as hard as he was. That was the whole incident with him throwing chicken in the cafeteria or something like that. Like that was one of the issues.
Flipped over a table.
He like flipping tables, like Jesus. Like it was wild. So and that was one of his issues. Like he didn't feel like the team were trying hard enough. Not even just the players, but even the front office. And he had problems with the front office because he felt that they were just playing to lose and whatever. So now that
Does that worry you at all, though?
No, that actually like that. That's what we need, because especially when you look at how the way Phil Neville didn't have the locker room at first, and he eventually turned it around and he got the team playing for him.
Yeah,
that is what Josef Martinez was basically looking at. Like, yo, look at them. They're turning their whole season around. And Atlanta kind of got worse. And if I'm not mistaken, they didn't even make the playoffs last season. So
nope. Yeah,
and we did. So it's like he sees a team that he can see a different situation where he doesn't feel like people at Atlanta are taking everything seriously. He sees another team that's around in the same situation that are on the up. We're not where I think we should be, but we're making progress. We're getting there. We're on the up and up. and he sees that, he's like, well, maybe this might be a better move for him. On top of that, he's Venezuelan. There's a huge Venezuelan contingency down here. Massive Venezuelan. They would love it.
For sure.
We're signing Argentinians. We just signed one today. We're rumored to sign another one that was rumored like last week. Then we have Josef Martinez for the Venezuelan market. It makes a lot of sense. And I think he is motivated to play on a team that actually wants to play.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken with Josef Martinez, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I noticed in a couple games that they actually had him benched, no? Mm-hmm. And then sort of at the end of the season, that's when they kind of just said, all right, go out there and do you. And that's when he just started to kill it. Like, that's when everybody's like, okay, this is the Josef Martinez that I remember from some odd years ago. So, I mean, it's like you said, he's the kind of guy that's kind of in this Higuain picture where it's like, okay, you're not really doing too much for me. Where's the productivity? And then all of a sudden, boom, he just skyrockets into mass productivity. So I could see that happening where he does produce. And Danny, I know you've seen a lot of Josef Martinez too in the past couple of years. And it's crazy because you just brought up sort of that culture thing of Inter Miami, where in the beginning, I also saw the same thing you saw, where he didn't have like a grasp of his team. But then I guess the whole... No, I'm talking about Neville. My bad. And then so all of a sudden he finally gets his team together, finally gets his team to sort of hoorah behind him. I don't know if he put like a Eric Spoelstra, Pat Riley kind of deal where it's like heat culture, whatever. So, but I mean, that could be the deal. I mean, Danny, what do you think about the Josef Martinez situation?
His personality worries me a little bit because I think he's one of those fiery guys.
He's a hothead, 100%.
Yeah. So if things aren't going well, which sometimes they don't go well, I don't know how he's gonna act if Pizarro is on the field. And we're gonna get into that later, right? We're not gonna get into that right now. But hypothetically, just for the sake of the Josef Martinez conversation, if hypothetically he's on the field, we saw how Higuain and Pizarro could not. They butted heads. How many times did Pizarro mess up and Higuain just started throwing his hands up? I think he was the most demonstrative when Pizarro messed up more than anyone else. I don't think he liked Pizarro at all. Now, I could be wrong. That's just what I felt when I was watching the games. And I feel like Josef Martinez might be in that mold where he might get frustrated on the field. I don't remember seeing that really. I didn't watch Atlanta that closely. But I know he's a hothead. That's his reputation. And he really clashed with the coach last year. Last year, he only played 12 games. And it wasn't necessarily all because he was hurt. It was because he got benched because of the way he was clutching. Now, I did want to get into his productivity, though, because he tore his ACL in 2020. He didn't play at all that year. Right? He played. He tore it, I think, in the first game of the season. That was the only game he played.
It was. If it wasn't the first game, it was extremely early in the season.
So let me take Chris back. Let me take you back, Chris. 2018. He played 33 games, scored 30 goals. 2019, he played 32 games, scored 28 goals. Absolute monster, okay? Now, what am I hearing a lot of people today on Twitter say? Oh, but, he's not the same anymore. He's not the same guy. He's lost it. After the ACL, he hasn't been the same. Well, I disagree. He's averaging almost 1 goal a game before the ACL tear. After he came back in 2021, he played 18 games, scored 12 goals. Yeah, not maybe the same level of productivity, but not that far off. 12 goals in 18 games is still crazy. That's still
really good.
Yeah,
especially with limited minutes. That's really good.
And last year, 2022, everybody's like, oh, he only scored 9 goals, 4 assists. Remember, he only played 12 games, or he only started 12 games. So he started 12 games, scored 9 goals, and he had 4 assists. That means he produced or he assisted in 13 times out of those 12 games. I'm sorry, but that's productivity. He's producing. Yeah. So I understand why everybody's hesitant about the whole ACL tear or whatever and his personality. But as far as on the field, what he can bring to this team, I'm excited. And if we can do it, pull the trigger. I want this guy on the team.
Now, the only issue and the question is, do you put him on a DP or no?
Yeah,
that's the only issue.
Yes. And you know what? And maybe it sounds hypocritical because I just said I would want him and I still think he can produce. But I don't know. Having him on a DP really scares me. Those DPs, especially if Pizarro is still holding one of those DP spots, because Pizarro having one of those DP spots is such a negative for us. because all of a sudden we only have 2 left. So you got somebody here calling you out, Calypso. You got Javier.
Oh, what's up, Javi? Talk to me. What's going on?
But
So,
you know what's scary about the whole thing though is that we just signed this guy Nicolas Stefanelli, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, he's like a legit signing. This isn't a rumor here. So we just added another striker behind Campana at this moment because Coco Jean, I don't know where that guy is right now.
I
legit been somewhere in Walmart.
Forgot about him because he got injured the week he arrived.
Yeah.
I think he got injured coming off of the plane. To be perfectly honest.
He tripped on a carpet somewhere.
Yes.
In Fort Lauderdale Airport.
Well, today's signing, they say that could be a backup striker or a wing. That's basically what they told us about Coco Jean, that he was a versatile guy that could play backup striker or wing. So I feel like we're just loading up on depth up front. Now, what worries me is the back. But before we get into the conversation of the back, I kind of want to ask, like we already got over the Josef Martinez. Well, real quick, before we get off the Josef Martinez, I didn't ask. So if he's going to cost us a DP, Chris, would you want him?
I don't know, man. Like I look at
he's
soccer.
A monster.
He's a monster, right? But like I kind of look at soccer, like I don't know. I guess it's like dog years. Like Higuain is like seen as old as hell. He wasn't really old, but like in soccer, he's kind of old.
Josef Martinez is only 28, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's when you're starting to go down at 28.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, look, based on his productivity from last year, if you base the productivity with the amount of opportunities that he had, I can understand why he would get the DP money, right? Because it's still there. But I don't know if this is the guy that you want to throw all that money into, especially considering that you need it for the future. You don't know how long it's going to last with him as well. Those are key things.
Giving him DP?
I wouldn't give him the DP, but I trust Chris Henderson to figure everything out. If he gets a DP slot, it is what it is. But let Chris Henderson cook. I trust him fully. He knows what he's doing. You've seen what he's done with the Sounders. He's not that other fat fuck. I forget his name. Our old sporting director who shouldn't be named anyways. He's not even worth remembering.
The only thing I can't give Chris is Coco Jean for getting that guy off the plane. Injured.
I mean,
this guy literally left on a wheelchair.
He might still surprise us. He might still surprise us. Look, me and Chris, we were going at it a couple weeks ago because he kept telling me that he'd rather have Indiana Vassilev over Coco Jean. I don't know what Coco Jean is yet because I haven't seen him. I know what Indiana Vassilev is.
You just see Calypso's
I don't
face.
want Indiana. I know what he is. Let him go ahead and shine in St. Louis. Good luck. Good luck to you. I don't want him on this team anymore. He had 2 goals all season, and those 2 goals came within like 10 minutes of each other. I understand that those 2 goals help us win a game, but that's it. That was his productivity this year.
You got to produce more than that because he was more productive the year before. He got worse.
Yes.
It was wild.
He played over 1,000 minutes, 2 goals. I'm good with him gone. Let's see what Coco Jean is. So now the reason I'm worried about the whole DP spot is because I really want Pozuelo on this team. If Pozuelo is gonna give me have to take up a DP spot, I know a lot of people saying that he's on the wrong side of 30, but I'm okay with that. I'm sorry. He's the one that made Higuain all of a sudden show up last year. People could tell me all it wants is that it was Higuain all the time. He just had to, I don't know, grow into it or find this footing. I'm sorry. That was the Pozuelo effect to me. The second half of last year, to me, was Pozuelo. I think he was the team MVP. I know Higuain had to put the ball in the back of the net, but Pozuelo's the one that was finding him to put the ball in the back of the net. He's the one that opened up the space for him to make those runs, and I need Pozuelo back on this team. Am I the only one on this boat that feels like we need Pozuelo back on this team?
No, I think we do. We definitely. I think we definitely should keep him. He was one of the things that helped us score last year. We played a lot through him and our 2 Brazilians in the middle. They helped us a lot. They helped us shoot because that was one of the issues that we had years before. Is not
we were playing on the wings.
Our midfield was trash. We had a decent forward. We had okay defense, and then nothing to link them in between. So the way that Phil Neville likes to play that counterattacking play, it works because we can funnel through them. And then Drake Callender, his distribution has gotten so much better. Oh my god,
Yeah.
his distribution's too good. It's not as good as Nick Marsman, but I'll take it because Nick.
No, yeah, no. Well, we
'cause
tried the whole
Marsman
Nick
used to,
Marsman
fucking
thing.
Yeah, Nick Marsman, that was his one thing, was he can distribute like a motherfucker. He would be able to from the box all the way to the corner on the left, just bomb it. That was his thing. So I'm glad that Drake Calendar upped his game when it comes to distributing, because we needed to play out the back, and not even just play out the back, play out the midfield and distribute the ball given so we can do counterattack. A lot of our goals were scored on the counterattack. Like even that one chip goal against Orlando, that was a counterattacking play basically.
Or Campana, yeah. But the thing is, before Pozuelo, we used to play up the wings. That was it.
Mhm.
Like it was up the wings and then center the ball. But once Pozuelo got here, we started playing up the middle. The game changed for us. The offense changed. The tactics changed. I feel like the Pozuelo effect, like everybody focused in on Higuain's improvement. Not enough people were talking about the Pozuelo effect. So I want Pozuelo back for that reason. Now, Chris, are you with me on this one, or am I on an island here?
I mean, I think he's a great point guard, right? Like he's the guy that's making the play. And Bryce Duke is good, but he's not there yet.
I
not
need
there yet.
the Bryce Duke slander to stop.
No,
I need
let
this
me
man
tell
to
you.
play more games.
I'm gonna
start
tell
more
you.
games.
I'm gonna tell you something, Calypso. I am like the top supporter when it comes to Bryce Duke. If it was up to me, I would love Bryce Duke to play every single game. But at this point, between Bryce Duke and Pozuelo was showing out last season.
Absolutely.
In the little bit of time that he had with us. So in a perfect world, to be honest, I wish that they both could play at the same time.
That's what I wish they could both play. It would be so good. Because Bryce Duke, he's a baller. He's only getting better. That one assist that he had in Montreal was amazing. How he fucking nutmegged somebody. But like Bryce Duke, that kid is the future, and he needs to get more playing time.
Let me tell you,
they can play together. We don't need wings anymore. We could play up the middle if we have Pozuelo and Duke. They could handle the rock. What are you gonna say, Chris?
So with Bryce Duke, you know what I noticed about him is he's super flashy. Like on every 3-4 plays, I see he's trying to nutmeg somebody.
He likes to express himself. He likes to play with a little bit of fun.
I feel like that's Robert Taylor more than anything.
Well, Robert does that too, but Bryce Duke, I see him do it all the time. Yes, he is Neymar Light.
At least he's not Emerson. At least he's not Emerson, right?
Don't hit Chris in the heart. That's Chris's boy.
Emerson's great, but he's not. He's great at doing all the step overs, and he can run, and he does everything up until the part where you need to kick the ball.
He has to score.
Everything else is good except for that one important part about the scoring. That's kind of important.
That's your typical Colombian. That's how Cuadrado used to be also. That's your typical Colombian, I'm telling you.
He will break people's ankles all night, but he needs to be able to turn that into goals. If he does that, he will destroy the league.
Yes,
now,
he would.
There was an image going around today. IMCF Traveler posted it. It was the Pozuelo cleats that he posted on Instagram. Little pink cleats.
Yeah. Body bags.
Oh, okay.
All right. Am I the only one reading into that as he's coming back?
Of course.
Randomly posting a picture of pink cleats?
I don't see any reason why he would leave. And if I remember correctly, Higuain wore pink cleats too.
Right, but like a random post that the day before the medicals are coming in, training camp starts on Monday. Like
yes,
pink
yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
But now,
and he's in Miami. He's in Miami.
Yeah, but now, and thinking about that, there's been no news about his signing. So, like, is he having discussions in the background, like with management? Like, hey, what are we gonna do? Like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure they would adjust his contract based on what he had last year, because I don't remember the details of his deal last year, but I'm pretty sure it was a really short, like maybe 1 or 2 year thing, or maybe a 1 year, and a sign, an extension, and stuff like that.
They just bought out the rest of the last part of his contract with Toronto because he was a free agent this year regardless.
They had to finish his Toronto contract. So I'm pretty sure they're renegotiating. He's probably, if anything, asking for a pay raise, if anything.
Yeah, probably. I could see that definitely.
So what we're saying is he might be a DP if we bring him back. Josef Martinez might be a DP if we bring him back, and that leaves us with one more DP. And you know what? This guy Pizarro is our third DP.
I think that's the way they're probably going to do it, yeah. because we're not getting Messi. We're definitely not getting Messi, so we have to fill up that spot. We're not getting Messi. Let's just let that go now.
No, I know.
He's already in talks with another PSG contract. So let's just let that ship sail. And apparently he was supposed to sign for Kansas City. Oh no, sorry, I'm thinking of
no, you're Ronaldo. You're talking
Ronaldo. Yeah. So yeah, I think we should just let that go. It's fine. You don't really need him. It's nice to have him.
Let's get into the Pizarro conversation then.
Mm-hmm.
So we're basically gonna have an Inter Miami mascot once again in the DP position in Pizarro.
No,
I think he'll play. No, I think he'll play.
That's what I was gonna get into. This can't become a Blaise Matuidi thing.
No,
Pizarro is way too young to just randomly have him be what was
he's
it they were calling him? An ambassador.
Yeah,
he's too young to be an ambassador. He got paid like they bought him for like $12 million. They gave him a DP designation. Like he has to play. Now, do I want him starting? No. Do I think that if at one point he was good enough to get a DP spot, is he good enough to at least come in as a sub towards the end of games? Yes. Like he has to get on the field. Like I'm not a fan of Pizarro by any means, but I think that he can help us out late in games, last 10, 15 minutes. If Indiana Vassilev was finding time on this team, Pizarro can find some time on this team at the end of the games as a super sub, because there's no way you can have this guy just going out to the bright line and taking pictures with people. Like that can't be what he's getting paid to do.
That's more of a Blaise Matuidi thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And I can't imagine that they would do that to Pizarro. He has to get on the field.
That doesn't seem like his kind of vibe.
This guy Pizarro scored a whole goal last year. A whole goal.
Look, yeah.
Was he playing much in Mexico?
No, he wasn't playing much in Monterrey at all. He signed with an option to buy over there, on loan, with an option to buy. And they didn't take that option to buy, obviously. That's why we ended up getting him back. And that has to hurt the ego. So I'm assuming he's going to be busting his ass to prove himself. He didn't make the national team that went to the World Cup for Mexico. Ooh. So right now he has a piece of humble pie, and I think he's going to bust his ass to play better. Now, obviously, just because you want to play better doesn't mean you will play better, but I do think that he's going to want to. He's going to be busting his ass to do so. And if we can't get rid of his contract, you got to let him see the field. Maybe don't start. But before Higuain got here, in the beginning of 2020, he was the face of the team. He wasn't necessarily playing great, but I wouldn't say he was horrible either. He was just okay. He's not necessarily what I expected in a DP, but he wasn't the worst thing I'd ever seen in the world either. So do I want him back? No. Do I want him as a DP? Hell no. But if we're forced to keep him in that designation, no, he can't be a mascot. No way he can be an ambassador.
I think now that Higuain's gone and the team has gotten better and we have a lot of new faces, I think at least I would assume he would be more motivated to play and actually get better. And like you said, he did eat some humble pie. He only played, I think, with 30 games and scored 1 goal in that loan spell. So it's like he kind of has to like step his shit up and like get better. Yeah, 30 goals, 30%.
30 games, and he had 1 whole goal.
He's not fast enough to play the wing, so you can't put him out at the wing.
No.
He would have to play in that 10 position, so I'm assuming he would be a super sub late to play as a cam. He's not necessarily a striker, so I mean he would be in the midfield somehow. He can't play in the center midfield because he can't play defense for his life.
And we have Gregory for that.
And we have Mota. I'd rather have Bryce Duke out there than give Pizarro minutes, but the one thing, and before I get to you, Chris, the one thing that frustrated me the most about watching Pizarro play is kind of what Calypso just said about Emerson, is that he likes to dribble in circles. He is a very flashy player. He dribbles in circles constantly, but he's not really going anywhere. Just because you're moving doesn't mean you're really progressing. Like, you're not really doing much. It looks cute, but it's not productive. Go ahead, Chris. What were you going to say?
I just feel bad for Bryce Duke, man. Because if they bring him back and we got like 2-3 cams, like I'm telling you right now, Bryce Duke's gonna be like at LAFC, and they're just never gonna get sanctioned ever.
No, Bryce. You know what's like? Bryce Duke's gonna end up playing the wing like he did a couple games last year, completely out of position. but they're gonna want him on the field, and that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna have him playing out on the left wing. I don't know.
And
where
another
Lassiter's
player,
gonna fit
and another player I kind of feel bad for is Taylor, because like he was good. He was good. I have a lot of respect
love
for him as a
Neymar
player.
Light.
Super humble. He was a super humble player from what I could tell.
Works
He's
hard.
super skilled. He doesn't back down on defense. And that's another player who's gonna be losing up a lot of minutes as well. So I mean, this Pizarro guy, I mean, get him out of here. John, out of here.
You got to wheel Coco John out. I think definitely Taylor could be that super sub that we need if we're down, like maybe we're wondering if we need a late goal, something like that. Robert Taylor,
like
he's definitely
Indiana
that guy.
Vasilev kind of goal.
He would be our new Indiana Vasilev. He comes in and just changes the game. He comes in like, I would say the 70th minute, but realistically, it's going to be 80th minute because it's full level. Yeah. I don't know why he does that shit.
Very late. Yeah,
he does the latest. 10 minutes left. Let's change it up. Like, no, bro.
Yeah,
you need to do that fast. That's the one thing I would say about.
It worked against Minnesota with Indiana.
That's the thing, but you can't rely. You can't rely on that. You got to be proactive.
You know what's funny? Man, I wish I had the stat. We scored an incredible amount of goals after the 75th minute last year. Mm-hmm. Like, it was an insane amount of goals. And I think it was like 3 or 4 goals in the first like 15, 20 minutes all season. Like, it was ridiculous how well we. And I remember we had this discussion on the podcast last year. Like, is it that we credit it to maybe fatigue on the defenders on the other team, or is it that Phil Neville's actually pulling the right strings late in the games? Like, because it seemed like late game heroics every year. Cardiac Herons is what everybody was calling them, right?
Yep.
So I don't know. Is it after a while? Does it stop being a coincidence? Is it that Phil Neville keeps pulling the right strings? Because it was the substitutes that kept scoring the goals.
It was, but I just really need to see that change, right? Because there were some games like, yes, we did come from behind and score late goals, but there were some times where a sub earlier, 10 minutes earlier could have saved us. So it's like two sides of the same coin. Like, it could work really well when it works well, and when it doesn't work well, it's heart crushing. So
yes, it is.
You're living life on the edge there when you do stuff like that. You're living on the red line. So you can't always, like, that can't be a strategy. It's to live on the edge like that. You have to be more proactive. At least I feel so.
So, Chris, you were gonna tell me we had an official signing today.
Yes.
We had what was his name?
Your boy Italian Stallion, aka Argentinian Nicolas Stefanelli.
Stefanelli. There we go.
Apparently, his name is Chicho. Apparently,
Chicho. That's his nickname.
According to Wikipedia, yeah.
What? Chicho.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Chicho. So Chicho's another Coco Jean because he is a hybrid striker, wing. We don't know what he is.
He's a 5-tool player.
He plays it all.
Hopefully he can get off a plane nice, safe, and actually play for us.
Yeah.
Because
put bubble wrap, please.
Yeah, because we don't know what happened. And we also are close to signing the left back, Argentinian left back. What's his name? Franco. Oh, man, I forgot his name also.
I know you're talking about, yeah.
Negril?
Yeah, he got not announced, but like he was rumored. Like, it was like they came out a couple weeks ago that he was rumored with us.
No, it was, man, I want to say it was Franco Negril, something like that.
Franco Negril, yes.
Yeah, there we go. So he plays left back, left mid, probably left back. Now, our defense, I think, was obviously a very it was a weakness of ours. But I think Yedlin did well as a right back, right? I think
yes,
that spot is solidified.
Yeah.
Left back, we've been screaming and yelling for Noah Allen, but because we feel like he can produce a lot offensively, maybe defensively, he won't improve us on our back line.
He Noah Allen, I want Noah Allen to improve, but he did the few games that he did play, he did get kind of exposed.
He got super exposed.
It was bad. I'll love for him though. He lives right down the street from me. Like I'm living in the Pembroke Pines area.
Yeah.
So he lives really close to me. But yeah, there were some games where I watched it, and the few days he got exposed really bad.
Right. That's why we're saying that as far as offensively, he would bring a lot in that position.
Yes.
And it's like sickening to watch because like you see him and he's a kid and it's like, oh
yeah, I feel
just
really
got
bad
destroyed. And it's like you see the potential there, right? You
can
tell that he's a hell of a player, but he just doesn't have the experience under him to play aggressive. Well, it's either he plays too aggressive on defense or he lightens up too much on defense, and that just opened him up for a ton of exposure.
He's pulling some muscle too. He's kind of small. That's the only thing. So I said the same thing about Romeo Beckham. That kid could ball, but I was at the game one time. I went to a few of the Inter Miami 2 games. If you guys haven't gone yet, or any of the listeners haven't gone yet, please do. It's real fun. $5 tickets, really nice, really chill
nice.
vibe. And we went there, and it was one game where he just got like hockey checked into the boards. Like it was bad. Like he was going after the ball, and the dude came and just hit him. Like, damn, bro, you're kind of skinny. You gotta hit the gym, bro.
Got 100 pounds soaking wet
for real. Like, and and he's tall. He's tall as shit. Like people don't realize, but he's
He does look very tall.
He's tall and lanky.
Yes,
he's kind of he's like a mini Breck Shea, just tall and lanky for no reason, bro. So he needs to hit the gym and put on some weights, and he'll be balling.
Well, our defensive back line needed some help. I think we're good with Yedlin as a right back. Franco Negri on the left back, I think would be solid. My favorite part of bringing in a left back so we can move McVay to center back, because I know McVay,
get him out of there.
He kind of held his own out at left back, but I didn't like him back there. I thought the few games he played at center back, he played a lot better. So if you move him in at center back, we have Negri left back, Yedlin right back, McVay center back, and we have that one center back spot still open. Now, Damian Lowe, I thought was a little inconsistent.
Don't forget, LGP is still on our roster. LGP is yes, he is still on our roster. He's on loan still.
Oh shit!
Out in Argentina, no?
Yes, but he is still officially on our roster.
But he's not okay. Well, he's not coming back. At least not for the beginning of the season.
Who knows? I'm just saying he's still on the roster.
So
we're still cooking.
Yep.
So for the time being, Damian Lowe, I guess, would be next to McVay. Some people are saying Sailor. I honestly am praying, and some people are saying he's going to end up in Europe, praying that we get Alexander Cayens. If we can get Alexander Cayens, he's top 5 center back in the league. If we can get him next to McVay, all of a sudden our back line is strong. We turn that weakness into a strength real quick, in my opinion. If we can shore up with Negri on the left back, McVay moving into center back, and we can get in Cayens, that's it. I feel like we have a above average back line.
Well, and Calypso, I have a question, because we've always wanted to get the opinions of other people as well about Mabika and Lowe. Like out of the two center backs that we've been playing heavily last season, like which one of them two do you think really offer us a more solid play in the center back position?
100% Damian Lowe. 100%. Mabika, he's on the rise. He's good. I did the same thing with Drake Callender. I wrote him off initially because seeing him in preseason, it wasn't great. And I said the same thing about Drake Callender, but they've both improved a lot. I don't think Mabika's there yet, but he is getting there. He's still very young. But he
seems like such a nice kid.
He is one of the nicest guys.
He looks like such a nice kid. Like out of the all the players I've seen, for some reason he just stands out to me. Like, man, this kid looks like he's so nice. But when I see him playing, I feel like he looks so goofy. And I don't mean that in a bad way. But like, it's almost like he's lost out there. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, is it because he's so tall? I don't know what it is. But I like him as a depth player, like as a backup. When we have like a lot of games coming up because we have the Open Cup or whatnot, come into those games, I am 100% with it. But consistently being a starter, I'd rather not have Mabika as a consistent starter.
I'd rather have Lowe. He has more experience, and I think they're around the same height because I actually met Damian Lowe at a game, and he's tall as shit. Like I'm 6'1", and he towered over me. Like he's fucking tall. He's like a good like 6'8". Mabika's are also 6'6". So, like, we got some tall-ass defenders. So, I think Mabika can learn a lot from Lowe, being a tall, lanky defender just like him. I think he can learn a lot from Lowe. Right now, I think
Lowe is 6'4".
They were 6'4", okay. But I don't know. There's a picture on my Twitter, and he looks way taller than me, and I'm 6'1". He looks like a whole head taller than me. Oh. And Mabika's even taller than that.
No, I know Mabika's huge.
Yeah. I think he's one of the only players that wears, like, a large or extra large. Everybody else was medium. That's what they
6'7".
6'7".
That's insane, bro. Yo, I don't know why he played soccer for Kentucky. He should have played fucking basketball.
Yes, he
He
should
should
have.
have. Yeah.
That's
yeah. Oh, yeah.
insane.
He went to Kentucky. Yep.
Yeah, he was. I saw a picture. He was there. He was watching the basketball game, and they put him on the big screen and everything. It said Inter Miami defender. It was great. But I think Mabika's definitely the future after Lowe, because Lowe's getting up there in age. He ain't no spring chicken. So I think he's like the next in line after Damian Lowe eventually leaves. Then Mabika would be a good sign up. And he was one of the. Remember, keep in mind, we got him from the draft. We got some other players from the draft. We had a goalkeeper from the draft. This last draft, I forget his name, but we did get a goalkeeper in our first round because we only had 2 picks. But I think the future is really good for Inter Miami with these young signings.
Some people were asking, like, why did we go goalkeeper in the draft? And you know what? I don't mind going goalkeeper just because it's something that maybe we can develop, kind of like Drake Callender.
Yeah,
Drake Callender was developed. Because you hope that Drake Callender, the way he's playing, eventually people in Europe or somewhere else are going to want to pay for him and buy him, right? And because usually has to go when you're in MLS to get the eye of somebody in Europe and go over there. So what you're hoping is that you want to develop, right? We want our academy or our Inter Miami 2 to be good enough to develop these players so that when our players get good enough to go over to Europe, we have these developed players that come in and take over. So I don't mind them drafting a goalkeeper and trying to develop them. Like, to me, it didn't bother me at all. I know some people were like, "Oh, we should have drafted a defender or something else."
I mean,
I was okay with
look where we were in the draft. We were 18th in the draft, and like
it's a crapshoot at that point.
Yeah, and I was actually watching it live, and I think the first 10 draft picks they were traded for. So like, I think Orlando had like 4 picks in the first round because they just kept throwing money at people and like, we need the picks. Like they were just trading up like crazy. We were just sitting back like, everybody's gonna fight and squabble over this pick and this pick. Like the first 7 picks were just like, well, first we have Charlotte, but then Charlotte gave money to this team and they were just like throwing money.
Pam and Bam and all that. It's all over the place.
As soon as someone's on the clock, they're like, now we're good, and they would sell their spot and that. So we're just waiting like, you know what? Give me that guy. Yeah, sure. We'll develop whatever.
I wonder, do you think they picked him up for like a trade asset, maybe? I mean, that's the only thing I can think
of. A young goalkeeper? I don't think so.
I actually just learned, I swear, I looked at the website to look at the coaches, and there's 2 goalkeeper coaches. Is that normal?
As far as 2?
I have no idea. That's a great question. I have
to have
no idea.
2 full-time goalkeeper coaches, maybe I would assume one assistant coach, but we have on the main roster, I think we have like in total 4 because we have Callender,
Dos Santos,
we have the new guy, and then we have Marsman.
Yeah.
So I mean, we have 4 goalkeepers right now. Yeah. So who knows? That might be the play.
What do you guys think is the single biggest need on this roster right now?
A proven scorer, because it was first it was Higuain, then it was Pizarro, then other people would score. I think we need an out and right, like this is the guy that's going to.
You don't think Campana is that guy?
I mean, he fell off after the whole situation with Gonzalo. He scored his hat trick and he was scoring goals, and then his production fell immediately. Then
he did get injured.
He did. 100%. No, he was injured for like the whole like I would say last third of the season. He was like plagued with injuries.
That sucks.
It sucks. And I know he was trying really hard. So and on the top of
that, World Cup,
and he didn't get on the Ecuadorian team, which I'm pretty sure that was heartbreaking for him. Yeah. So I hope he's motivated even more to come back and be like, okay, now it's my spot.
Now I gotta kill it.
Now I got to kill because I don't have to worry about now I'm taking Higuain's spot and this drama and this shots at him in the stands.
With Josef Martinez coming, I don't know.
And if he does, then they can be that tandem that works together and be scoring goals like crazy.
You think they'll play with 2 strikers up top? Look, that's a dream of mine.
I'm not singling it out. I'm not gonna say no, but it could be interesting. There might be some times where we might have to, depending on injuries and suspensions, because our midfield's constantly getting suspended.
Yeah, Gregory's but I like that. So let's play fantasy soccer a second. So we got Campana and Josef Martinez up top. We got Pozuelo right behind them as the cam pulling the strings. Then behind that, we have center midfield. We got Mota and Bryce Duke. And then playing CDM, we got Gregory. And then we got Negri left back, Yedlin right back, McVeigh center back, Kyan center back, and then Drake Callender as a goalie. Tell me we're not winning the cup.
I mean, I'm liking that squad. We can beat most teams with that squad, 100%.
I mean, that squad sounds sexy to me. I don't know.
I'm
I'm looking at the
goals.
schedule now.
It sounds like goals.
We can beat most teams with that squad. I'd say maybe a team like maybe New York, Philly will give us some trouble. I'm literally looking at the schedule now. Maybe Austin. Austin had a really good season last season. We play LA.
Austin was awesome.
We play play them in July.
Super scary team. Super scary.
Yeah, we play them in July at home. Actually, we actually play them at home. We play Charlotte at home.
Do you guys think that it's going to be a disadvantage now that all the games are at nighttime and we no longer have? I mean, we played a lot of nighttime games last year, but usually, like for example, the Miami Dolphins. It's a huge advantage when you're playing in Miami because some teams aren't used to playing in that heat, right in the middle of the summer. Now that all the games are at nighttime, I feel like that has gone away. Like, are you guys at all worried of the fact that we have no more home field advantage as far as that goes?
I mean, you have to keep in mind that can also be a detriment because both players are playing on the same field. If it's hot as hell every day and players about to damn near pass out, that could be tough for us too.
No, for sure. But you would assume at least that the Miami players would be more accustomed to it because they have to deal with it on a consistent basis. Kind of like when you go play in Colorado. If you're playing in Denver, any type of sport, that's a home field advantage because you're not used to that altitude, that the thin air. Like you got to catch your breath and all that other stuff. So
I think it was our
home field advantages.
Yeah, I think it was our goalkeeper who said he's only been to Florida once. The one of the
Yes,
he's been to Florida once, and it was
like
Tampa.
Tampa. Yes,
He's like, doesn't even remember. He's like, I think it was Tampa, and I forget where he's from. But he's been to Florida one time, and that was it. So we got some places that got to get acclimated. Yeah, that first week it's gonna be murder because it's gonna be hot. That cold front is gone by now, so they're gonna have to get used to this heat. And hopefully, I'm pretty sure Phil Neville and the whole stuff would account for that and everything.
Well, Calypso, you were just looking at the schedule, and the one thing I don't know if we're gonna get to schedule talk here, right? Like,
go for it. We're down on the topics.
Well, so I remember you asked me earlier, right? Like, what is it that we look forward to the most, right? We talked about a couple of the games, right? Like the Orlando game, that's going to be huge. But the one thing that I'm really, really either worried about or really looking forward to is that the last 7 games in our schedule are all against Eastern Conference opponents.
Yes, that's going to be...
That is colossal.
That's actually good because
we control our fate.
That's the thing, because you saw how it was last season. How we had to play a lot of teams. Like we had to play like Red Bull and even that game that got moved because of Open Cup for Orlando.
Yes,
that actually helped us because we had to beat certain teams, and even if we tied or dropped points, stuff like that, it helped us either way, and that's how we got into the playoffs. In a pretty decent seeding. We weren't even the last seed. Orlando was the last seed because of the trash. Yeah. Anyways, Orlando barely slipped in there in the last. They barely got in there in the last because they were losing that game against Columbus. Because I remember I was watching the score the whole time on my phone during the game, and they barely got it. And Columbus was known for giving up late goals.
Yeah, so that was a bad game.
I was watching Columbus whole season. Every game they would just give up late goal after late goal after late goal. They were the opposite of us. So I had a feeling that might happen. So that something like this, we have Toronto, Orlando, New York, Chicago, Cincinnati, and Charlotte. And even before that, we have Atlanta.
Yes,
alternating each home and away. Yeah. That can help us a lot because in September we play LA and Kansas City, and they're in the Western Conference. So that's actually, I think, really good because even a tie here, a tie there, that can help us gain points, maintain that spot that we need to be at the end of the season, like how we did last year.
Yes. Well, what are you looking forward to, Danny, in terms of schedule? I
was pulling up the schedule right now because I was curious as to what games I'm looking forward to going because I like to travel. Now, Calypso, you're part of Vice City, correct?
Yes.
Do you travel with the team or to away games?
So me personally, I do not travel. I've only been to one away game, and that was the Open Cup game against Miami. That was the one. That's the one away game
that's
I've
traveling.
been to.
That's traveling.
I traveled.
That is. There you
But
go.
I haven't been able to go to any Inter Miami away games.
And for you, it's definitely traveling because that's Broward.
Yes.
For us, we're like at home.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it was like a 10-minute drive for me. I was straight.
I know that was so nice, man. I wish I was like that.
It was nice just to go down the street. But yeah, that was the only. I haven't been able to travel out of the state. So it was really. So hopefully this season I'll be able to go to at least like maybe an Orlando or an Atlanta game, or at least anything on the East Coast works for me. But yeah, there's some really good games that I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to playing some teams that we haven't played yet, like Austin home. That's going to be interesting. I know their supporters will travel. That'll be really
Austin is a great team. It's the first time they come down to Miami. Now we start off against Montreal. Montreal was a pretty decent team last year, but they fall off over the offseason. They lost their coach. So all of a sudden that game turned into from interesting to like, okay, I think we can get that game. Then we got Philadelphia. That's a challenging game at home.
That's a tough game. Philly's a good team.
And then we travel to New York, but New York is I don't know what's going on over there.
They might lose their bear too.
They lost everybody. Maxi Morales left. Alexander Kynes left. Sean Johnson is linked to either go to Europe or Toronto. Like they're going to be depleted.
I didn't know about the Toronto. Wow, that'll be interesting.
So, and then speaking of Toronto, then we play against Toronto. So I have a feeling that we have a chance to have a pretty decent start to the season because what killed us last year is that after the first 5 or 6 games of the year,
5 games,
it was 5 games where we only had 1 point, right? That first draw. If it's not for those first 5 games, we end up on the top half of the playoffs, maybe even a home playoff game. So we need to start off good this season. And looking at our schedule, obviously anything can happen, but Montreal doesn't look like that strong. Philly obviously is going to be challenging, but luckily it's a home game. And then you got New York, Toronto, Chicago. Like I think we have a chance to start off a lot better than we did last year because last year we started off, the second game was like in Austin and we got our ass kicked.
So, that was the 5-1 game, yeah.
But
but the beginning of the season when we had that, when we were getting blasted those first 5 games, that was kind of the time when Phil Neville was kind of figuring things out.
Yeah.
So
great point. That's what I was going to say next. Good job.
We do have to question that as well, but now it's where all eyes are on Phil Neville. You got the whole season with guys that you've been used to. So what are you going to do now?
Yeah, I think now is going to be the season that makes or breaks him because I was saying this all that season, and Bernie, my co-host, he was on the hate Neville on the Phil Neville hate train. He wanted him gone. He was like, nope, get him out. I'm like, he's turning it around. We in a higher seed than we did with Diego Alonso because in that year we made it as the 11th seed. We made a play-in.
Yeah, that was bullshit. That doesn't count.
Yeah, even though I like to care about it to Orlando fans because it pisses them off, but whatever. I know it doesn't really count. I just like to piss them off.
And if you go to a game, Calypso, if you go to Orlando, you let me know because I'll go out there too because I was supposed to go last year, but it got rained out.
Yeah, no, they played it, but luckily you didn't go because that game didn't end till like 1 a.m.
Yeah, and then you have to drive all the way back, so I was glad I didn't go to that game. But I think Phil Neville now is the year where we actually get to see what he's made of. He has a team that, for the most part, is what he wanted. There's still some players like Pizarro and LGP that are lingering around from the older seasons, but for the most part, he's worked with Chris Henderson. He's told Chris Henderson, this is what I need. And pretty much Chris Henderson is like, all right, this is what you need. He uses his connections because he's got a lot of connections. He knows a lot of people. He's been in the game for a while. And not only that as a sprint director, but as a player, he played in the MLS eons ago. He played 1 year in for the Fusion. He played for us back in the day. So he knows how the league works and he has connections and he knows what's gonna happen. So I think now is the make or break year for Phil Neville.
We got Morgan on here. He asked, "What are your thoughts in all this craziness?" Now, I'm not sure what craziness he's referring to,
but I'm assuming
maybe all the rumors going on right now with Josef Martinez. We did touch up on that in the beginning, but just to bring that back real quick, I think it was a consensus. We're all hoping that Josef Martinez comes on board. Now we're a little more reluctant to give him a DP spot. Not because of his production, because we discussed his production. he's been producing, right? 12 starts, 9 goals, 4 assists. Like, he's producing, but his personality is a hothead. We don't know how that's gonna work. We don't know about giving him a DP spot when Pizarro's supposedly still gonna take a DP spot. So those were our thoughts on the craziness, and
I think Phil Nova will be able to handle his personality. Phil Nova doesn't seem like the guy that takes a lot of shit. He's very like he's very like, no, listen to me, motherfucker. Like he will. I think if Joseph kind of steps out of line, I think he'll put him in check.
Yeah. And for me,
I'm not as big.
I want it all.
I'm not as big of Phil Neville hater as everybody else is.
Yeah.
For the simple fact that, I mean, what did we want last year? Most people, right? Most of the experts, what did they have us ranked? 11th, 10th in the East.
Mm-hmm.
We made the playoffs. With like 2 or 3 games left in the season, we still had a chance at a home playoff game. Like, if things would have gone right.
Yep.
How many people had that? Nobody had that going on right now. So for that fact, I think that he should take a lot of credit for that. If we don't make the playoffs this year, or we don't make it above the 6th seed, because I mean, we were 6th seed last year. Okay, maybe we can have that conversation. But I think he earned to be back this year because of that playoff appearance and because of the way we improved. I mean, it's not like he was stubborn. Yeah, it's not like he was stubborn and stuck to those tactics of just playing up the wings. As soon as we got Pozuelo, he's like, you know what? We got Pozuelo now. We can play up the middle. Let's change it up. So he adapted also. So you can't just say he's stubborn and didn't adapt. I think that he gets a lot more slack than he deserves. Is he the best? Do I question sometimes his starting 11? I question his starting 11 a lot, usually, honestly. Do I question his late substitutions? Yeah, sometimes I wish he would substitute. But how many coaches have you met that you're happy with 100% of the time?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And there's actually a Taylor Twelmity that I just found here. This actually pertains to what we're talking about. So this tweet reads, Inter Miami FC can't make a move on Joseph unless they move a DP. Campana, Gregory, and Pizarro are their DPs, according to this tweet. If Pizarro comes back from Mexico, he wants to play now that Higuain is gone, then he has to move one to fit Joseph. Does Atlanta take Pizarro?
Ooh.
That's the interesting part of that tweet. A trade? You think that would work?
No way Atlanta takes Pizarro.
What if they did? Look, you think that would work?
Look, they're not staying with Joseph. Please. Joseph said he's not going to stay there.
Hey, take him, and I'll give you Marsman also.
Let's do it. Take
Marsman.
Coco Jean.
Yeah, take Coco Jean too. If you're taking Pizarro, go ahead. Take Coco Jean. Take Marsman. Who else you want? You want Emerson? I'll give you Emerson also.
No.
Keep Emerson. Keep Emerson.
I know. That was a shot at Chris. That was a shot at Chris. I know.
Nah, he can dribble through people. I'll take that.
No, but yeah, no.
That's interesting.
If that is on the table at all, for sure, you do that immediately.
Easy. That's an easy trade. Easy.
Josef Martinez. Look, if Pizarro's going to take up one of our DPs anyway, go ahead, trade him away and give that DP spot to Josef Martinez. It was going to be a DP spot that we felt wasn't going to be used. Give it to Josef Martinez 100%. You got me excited there, Calypso. Right at the end of the episode,
that'll be interesting.
Really excited.
Hey, that's Taylor Twelman's tweet, so if you want to blame anybody, blame him. I just happen to see that on my feed.
So anything else for the people? Either one of you guys? Ventanita, are you guys going to be on anytime soon?
Yes, we are. The reason why we kind of stopped as much because mostly Bernie was having troubles with his computer, so we're working on that. And it was mostly like a trial run just to see how we were fitting in, how everything worked, and the format and everything. So we weren't like too crazy about like doing an episode every day or every week, just when we needed to, when we had time. You know, when we started the podcast, I had just gotten a new job, and he is a teacher, so schedules are all over the place.
How similar is that with us?
Exactly. So
I also work at a school.
Oh, nice. Both my as well, and my brother. I come from a whole family of teachers. So we're working on that, and you know, now my schedule is mellowed out, and the school years, because my job works with schools, not working at a school, but it's school related. Nice. It's but since it's slow now, it's good now. So we're working on that. He's getting his situation fixed, and when the season starts, then we're going back up and recording.
Hey man, I still think you guys have the best name out there.
That was all. I will admit that was all Bernie's idea. That was 100% Bernie.
It's an awesome name. La Ventanita. If anybody listening, just for their name, give them
Just
a
let
chance.
him alone. But yeah,
give them a name.
he literally hit me up at the blue one time. Once he was like, "Yeah, I want to start a podcast, and you're the only one I can think of to start it with. So let's do it." And he thought the name and everything. I do the recording, and he made the YouTube channel. So it's mostly his idea, and we worked on it together. And I think it's
awesome.
working really well. And we have really good discussions, stuff like that. And we're going to be recording a lot more episodes and being more consistent. Now, we've done a little try run because I wasn't really taking it that serious. It was like, hey, let's just try it out, see how it works, and then go from there.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're doing. And we're going to be doing a lot more episodes that's coming up this season.
Well, we really appreciate you giving us your time today. And,
Absolutely.
we seen you at the stadium. We're season ticket holders also. We're always there. We always see you over there with Will and all of them. So
yeah. Oh, yeah, Will. That's true. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. 20 plus years, that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually met him when even Bernie, me, him, Bernie, Julian, the guy that was on the drums, we used to be Miami FC supporters, and we switched.
Yeah, I know. He used to tell me to go out to. Yeah, he used to come all the time to go out to IU for those games. I'm not gonna give anybody shit. I used to be an NYCFC supporter before Inter Miami came into existence.
I actually have a red because I'm a jersey collector. I used to work at a jersey store. So I have a old Philly jersey because we didn't have a team for so long. So I would just collect random jerseys that I thought. So I still have a Philly jersey. I have a Red Bulls jersey because when we lost the Fusion, I became a Metro Stars fan because I had family in New York. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Before they rebranded to Red Bull.
That's how I became an NYCFC fan because I wasn't really into club soccer that much, especially not domestically here in the United States. But then I was like, you know what? I kind of want to watch domestic soccer. It's the off season over there in Europe. And I was like, and I found out that New York was going to get a team. I'm a New Yorker. I was like, all right, I guess I'll get into it with NYCFC 2015. And then 2018 came around. All of a sudden, Inter Miami's going to have a team. And I was like, all right, home team finally.
And that's one of the things that I feel that people give MLS a bad rap on. And that was one of the things that people will talk to us when Vice City came around. It was like, especially on Twitter, like, oh, it's a new team. How are you guys diehard fans? Like, we've been wanting this for so long. Like, you're wearing you're wearing a Miami Fusion jersey right now. Like, I had a Carlos Valderrama poster on my wall back in the day.
Oh, this is a Valderrama jersey.
Yeah, we've been people don't understand how we've been wanting this for so long. Now that we finally have it, we're gonna go all in because that's how Miami fans are. We either don't care or we're all in. There's no in between with Miami fans because everybody's from somewhere else and they already have their own teams and they rather support their own teams and they bring that down here. But now we have something that we can build from scratch from day one from 2020. And you guys see all my scars back there from back when we started, and so we can build something from scratch and make it however we want, and we don't have to just follow somebody else's rules or do whatever the other team is doing. We can just do what we want and do it the Miami way, the South Florida way.
And I like that it's like a new it's just a new team, a new community that's growing together. Like, look, Chris wasn't into soccer before Inter Miami came around, and look, he dove in head first. His son is an addict now. That family's all in, and it's gonna keep growing, and it's nice to get in here from the ground floor, and we're gonna just grow with it, which is awesome.
Exactly. That's exactly what not only people just like me, but other people in Vice City. That was their whole thing. Was like, we're gonna do it our way. We're gonna do what we feel is right. We're not gonna do it the cookie cutter way. How not ragging on the team, but Miami is a different place from other places.
Yes,
even from other places in Florida.
Yeah,
even from Orlando and Tampa and Jacksonville and Tallahassee, we're completely different from all those things. So why not show and prove what Miami is and how we do things especially when it comes to a sport that we all love down here.
Right. And listen, just so the listeners know, if you want good coverage of Inter Miami, you check out La Ventanita.
to be honest,
Battered Herons.
To be honest, one of the reasons why, and another reason why we started the podcast is a lot of my friends, one of my personal friends, they aren't that into soccer, which is fine. It is what it is. That's just that's how I am. I'm a gamer. So most of my friends don't even like sports. So La Ventanita is especially on the Twitter account. I'm the one that runs the Twitter account.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'm usually the one. Bernie has it too, but I'm usually the one on the talk. It's just a way for me to shitpost stuff Inter Miami and not follow my friends. That's all it is. That's all I see it as. I get to shitpost about Inter Miami all day, and I don't have to worry about my friends. Like, damn, I keep talking about soccer again. Like I'll talk to my friends about soccer, and they have no idea what the fuck's going on.
Well,
so I get to shitpost on there all day.
And I love the community. So, and it's a good thing that a lot of people come together and we get to talk about it and have fun during the games. And this is a really cool experience. It was really awesome to have you on, have a different perspective, especially from, because, it's always good to get somebody else's expertise on the game, exactly. And on the matter.
All right. Well, before we head out, just one last random question I just saw here. Thank you guys. One more question. What are your thoughts on IM's Traveler?
It depends. If he buys me tickets, then we good. All right.
Traveler is
follow his
probably,
account.
I think Traveler is probably like the account to follow when it comes to Inter Miami stuff.
I gotta hit up Traveler, see if he'll come on the show.
Yeah.
You have to keep his information because I know he likes to keep his privacy, which is totally fine. But that guy has he has info, like, and I know people that work on the staff. That guy has more info than I do. And I
picture that guy with like in the shadow with the Carmen San Diego coat, right? He's just like chilling there, and then like I feel like when we have him on the podcast, he's just gonna be like in the darkness, like how
you're gonna have to modulate his voice. You're gonna put him in witness protection, man.
Hey, Traveler, if you're listening out there, whatever you got to do, we'll make it happen. Just come on.
Yeah. Traveler is the guy. For like actual good info. And then the burner account, the Inter Miami burner account for shit posts. That's the guy to go to.
That guy's fire, bro.
He goes a little ham sometimes, and that's fine. Yeah. But that's part of the spice, and it's funny.
Yes, it is.
Those two accounts, those are the two main accounts. Besides, also, of course, if you had to choose anybody else, those two accounts. They're Alex Windley. She's really good with reporting. Michelle, she's really good with reporting. If you need actual news and info. Heron Outlets, Michelle Rodriguez, they're good people to follow. That's where I get all of my information from.
Well, with that was episode number 27, episode number 1 of 2023. Season's just kicking off. Rumors are just kicking off. I'm sure by the time we record next week, we're going to have a couple more signings, a couple more rumors to go over. And I'm just excited, man. It's almost that time. February 25th. We're like, 40 some odd days away. I'm excited.
Almost there. And then preseason
training camp starts on Monday on the 9th. We got the first preseason game coming up in a week or two. The first preseason game is on January 21st. So it's coming. So with that, thank you guys for listening until the end. And we will catch you guys next week. Have a nice week.
Give me tickets, Traveler.